Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review. A very different time of going live, of course, but I was out last night and we decided to do it this afternoon. It is, of course, the big one tomorrow. The derby, the Tyne derby. It is Newcastle United. It is Sunderland. And it is a game that I feel Newcastle United simply have to win. Given the performance in Barcelona, they owe the fans and they owe us one for last time at the Stadium of Light as well. But we will get into it. I'm joined today by Mr. Billy Bob, who is your commentator for tomorrow. Good afternoon, bud.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the Toon Review Massive, the Magpie Massive, and the rest of you outstanding, fantastic, superb, splendid, awesome people out there in Saturday afternoon Viewerland.
Indeed. If you do enjoy the show, if you're watching this on live or later on in the day, please do smash that like button for us. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, please do subscribe. It is completely free on our pursuit of 48,000. We are very, very close. You can also become a member of the Toon Review by hitting the join button just underneath me and Billy. And as usual, super chats are available. That's a $sign under the live chat. And that guarantees your comment to be read out on the show as a thank you for sending in a super chat. Immediately, we've got Chippers, who's been a member for an incredible 51 months now. Nothing less than a win will do tomorrow. How are your nerves holding up, Billy? Have you had much chance to think about the game? Because you know, after Wednesday's debacle, we now set sights on Sunderland, of course, and they're still pretty confident, the old Mackhams are.
Well, it's about knowing where you are in the food chain, really. We're clearly below Barcelona. But, you know, as long as I'm sat here, we're clearly above Sunderland in the food chain also. So I've got no doubts that we're going to win tomorrow. I think the players always won. Especially after the game at the Stadium of Light. There's too many reasons why we can't win. We should want it more than them. And I think that will show on the pitch tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it is going to come down to mentality as well tomorrow, Billy, and how much we actually want it. And like you say, I'm sure the lads are aware that, you know, and Eddie is as well. He said it in his press conference that, you know, it was a complete and utter failure at the Stadium of Light. And then what's happened in midweek, I think that should spur us on even more, really, than to sort of lose the game. It's got to be win at all costs, and I think that will be the mentality, because we just have to win. A defeat is unthinkable right now.
No option at all. Win or bust, basically, for European places, for however long Eddie Howe wants to stay at the club. I think if we lose tomorrow, I don't think we see him next season. Aligned to if we don't get Europe next season, I don't think we see him next season. So, yeah, lots of people's careers are on the line, Newcastle careers on the line. But it's the important thing of just being trustworthy to the fans, you know, turn up when we need to turn up, showing the fans that we care, showing the fans that we've got too much for Sunderland, and we'll take them to the cleaners at St James's Park.
Well, look, the atmosphere is going to be absolutely red hot. A 12 o'clock kickoff, of course, which is extremely weird. But I'll be leaving the house good and early, getting through there, soak up a bit of the atmosphere, because, as usual, the Sunderland fans will be escorted from the train station up to St James's Park. That's always interesting. It's like, you know, the Newcastle United fans lining the streets. Waiting for it's crazy. The hatred is there, and you know the build up to the game comes a lot of time before the actual kickoff. You know, it's getting to the ground, it's getting in the ground. It's the fierce rivalry. You know, the two sets of fans going at it before the players are even warming up, and everybody in the ground nice and early, getting ready for it. I can't wait. I'm sure you can't wait for the commentary either, to be honest, Billy. And it's vital that we go at them from the word go, because we can't take prisoners tomorrow. We can't sit back. This is a team that we have to get at.
I can't wait, because I don't want. When there's a chance we don't beat them, absolutely, it's something that's unthinkable. I don't like games like this. I never have done. It's great when we win after we finish, but the actual 90 minutes themselves, I'm not a fan of. Apart from when we beat them 5-1 and shit like that.
Been a long, long time, Billy, since we played Sunderland in the Premier League at St James's
Well,
Park.
I was just thinking to myself, these rivalries, derbies that have got proper hatred in them, we don't see them much. I think there's only Arsenal Spurs, really, that we've got in the Premier League until this season. And they've got the Tyne Weir one. I don't count Liverpool, Everton, Man United, Man City as proper derbies. They don't really hate each other,
No, I don't think,
Man United are plastic, so they don't really got a hatred for Man City. Liverpool and Everton sit with each other, work with, going out and drinking with each other and stuff. So aside from that and the old firm, I don't see any real hatred derbies in this country.
Well, they're going about the London derbies, but to be honest, I mean, they're just an everyday thing, aren't they? Because there's so many. I think
Arsenal Spurs has got some hatred behind it, but the other ones no.
Yeah, I think it does. Liverpool Man United is probably more hatred than Man United Man City, to be honest, or Liverpool Everton. Yeah, but it's just going to be one of those occasions. Can you remember the last time, Billy, we played Sunderland in the Premier League?
Was it 0-0
at St James's Park? It was 1-1. And it was an equal. Mr. Mitrovic equalised when he sort of had that sort of chest bump with the fan and knocked the fan into next year. That's the last time. We had.
Did that stop the 6 in a row?
I think it did. Possibly. I can't actually remember. But look, what I do remember is, or what I do know, I think it's in double figures since we've beaten them in the Premier League, and it is now time. That sort of stat was eradicated completely because we don't want we want to. Listen, we beat them in the cup last year or a couple of years ago, didn't we? It's at the Stadium of Light, and that was it was good to get a win against them. But I think everybody expected Newcastle United to win that game. Yeah. Where Sunderland were at the time. To be fair to Sunderland, they've come into the Premier League and they're up to 40 points now. They're pretty much safe. They did have that period of time where, they were ahead of us in the Premier League and they were thinking about maybe a top 10 finish. But I think consolidating this season now for Sunderland and going again next year. But this is huge tomorrow because I think Eddie was asked a good question, Billy, in his press conference, was asked, if some of the team didn't realise the first game at the Stadium of Light, the magnitude of the game. Now, he disagreed and he said that they did, but they just did not perform. I got the feeling, he's bound to say that, to be honest, but I did get the feeling, Billy, that a lot of those players didn't really grasp it until it was too late.
I don't think the manager grasped it until it was too late. He went there for a point. He went there with a low block, the pattern midfield, 4-5-1, and no real attacking style at all. Yeah. Never looked like scoring, really. And to be honest, nor did they, but they wanted it more than we did. And probably deserved the 3 points at the end of the game.
It was a dreadful game, wasn't it? Hopefully we don't see a game as bad as that tomorrow.
Horrific, but that's what Sunderland will want. That's what they'll come to play for. They'll be happy with a point, no doubt about that. We've got to be right on our game tomorrow. We've got the quality to do it, absolutely. And we should see it with the fans behind us. There's going to be some atmosphere there tomorrow.
A little bit on the injury front, Billy. He did admit that, good for us is that Sandro Tonali, it doesn't look as bad for Sandro, the initial injury. Of course, on Thursday, there was a lot of rumours kicking about that, it was going to be weeks or possibly season-ending injury. Eddie put that to bed pretty much straight away and said, look, it's not as bad as we thought. He'll train today and he'll train tomorrow, but now it's today, obviously. So he's trained both days, so he has a very good chance of playing. And then he mentioned Miley, Bruno, and Fabian Schär should all be fit after the international break.
Well, that is good news. Whether they're match fit or not, again, how long do we wait for that? If they're ready to come straight in, that'd be fantastic for us. And if we can get 3 points tomorrow, sets us up properly for when after the international break for a proper run at the rest of the games in the season and so on, finishing that top 5, top 6.
Absolutely. Nick Thornton says, I can't remember a bigger must-win game for us. It is huge. It is huge.
It's probably the biggest one since... I'm going to say the West Ham game, the relegation game. The Gutierrez game.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're talking Premier League here. We're not talking
Cups
obviously the Carabao Cups and stuff. But this is a huge Premier League game because win, and like you say, Billy, it sets us up perfectly for after the international break to give it a real go and finish as high as we can. But lose, and then we've got a 2-week break before we can get back on the pitch again. There is going to be hell on if we lose the game because we've seen us get up for games before and do really well. But that Sunderland game earlier in the season was just completely flat. It was unbelievably flat. Warren says, Paul looking smooth, the Gannon Oot look. I did go last night. I did go out last night. And Billy's freshly shaven as well. So
I got rid of the Barcelona beard.
Is that what we're calling it, is it?
Well, it's gone down the sink.
C15 Rise says, lads, relax. It's a big game, but not the biggest in our history. If we go into 7th and results go our way, Europe is clutching distance and the rivalry is a big one. Look, there is a big opportunity for European football. I think somebody put out on social media today, I think it was one of the Geordie journals put out that, if things go well, Liverpool have to win the Champions League, though. And to be honest, I don't think there's much chance of that. They've lost today against Brighton. I can't see Liverpool winning the Champions League. I think it would be very, very difficult. Warren has gifted to 10 memberships.
Well done, what's up?
Warren, thank you. That is incredible. If you are a beneficiary of that, please do say thank you to Warren. That's incredible. Thank you very much. Gareth says, oh, bless, making the chat. The seagulls must be out at sea following the trolls. Trolls with a super chat. Thanks, mate. If Howe stays next season, I fear we are fucked. Well, look, it's not about the rest of the season. It's not about the summer. This is about one game tomorrow. And, that's how we...
Right, I've got to stop you there. I've got to stop you there.
Okay.
That's a fake fan if I've ever seen one.
I hope Sunderland wins so Eddie will get the... How are Choppy? What are you talking about, man?
You're no Newcastle United fan. Absolutely not.
No, come on, Choppy. Come on, mate. That's a disgraceful thing to say.
It's the worst post I think I've ever seen on there, and I've seen some racist shite.
I mean, look, it doesn't matter what you think of Eddie Howe, whether you're Eddie in or Eddie out. It does not matter. It really doesn't matter. What matters is you support the lads tomorrow. And look, there's some absolute wankers out there on social media. We know there is who can't seem to differentiate between praising them for a good performance and criticising them for a bad performance. But if you're a Newcastle United fan, I don't care what game it is, you do not want them to lose just so the manager gets sacked.
You cannot be a Newcastle United fan and want your team to lose to Sunderland.
No, come on, Choppy. That's absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe you've just said that, Choppy. I mean, look, everybody has an opinion on Eddie Howe, and that's fine, right? But at the same time, you can't make that turn into something where you want us to lose against Sunderland so Eddie gets the boot. I mean, we've criticised Eddie. We've all criticised Eddie on here, but Jesus Christ, I want Eddie and the lads to absolutely thump Sunderland tomorrow. Take them to the fucking cleaners is what I want.
Absolutely.
I don't care what my stance is on Eddie Howe. I don't care what anybody's stance is on Eddie Howe. This is Newcastle versus Sunderland, man. Come on. It doesn't get bigger.
Have a think. Send some messages to your fingers before you start typing, because that was the worst post I think I've ever seen on any Newcastle United fan channel.
But the thing is, Billy, even if we do lose to it, he's not going to get sacked. They will not sack him. So it's pointless. It's going to... Whatever happens will happen in the summer. And that's where it all gets talked about. Whatever your feelings are on Eddie Howe. But you cannot, as a Newcastle United fan, want to lose to Sunderland, our most bitter rivals, just so Eddie gets the sack. Surely not.
I think if we get back tomorrow, I think it's the perfect time, international break, etc., etc., etc. But I don't want that to happen. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No, Gordon Bennett. Wow. I mean,
I want to be giving 10 out of 10 on the review show, and hat tricks galore, and this, that, and the other, and 10s for all the players.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'll be in that ground cheering on Eddie and the lads tomorrow. It doesn't matter what my stance is on Eddie. If I think Eddie's good enough to take us forward, that's me as a fan. That's you as a fan. That's everybody as fans. But losing to Sunderland, I mean, no. Definitely not.
Anyway, Man United. If Man United were playing Sunderland, I probably want Man United to win. That's how bad it is.
Yeah. Sunderland is. I mean, as much as we hate all the other clubs, this is Sunderland. Come on, Jesus. Warren says, "Sack Choppy, bloody hell." I can't believe he wrote that. I can't.
I can't. I really can't.
Oh, wow.
Unless he's deliberately winding us up, and if he has, that's the best one.
He's had a Castor. Joel says, I do understand why Choppy said that, but I never want us to lose. But when it comes to Howe, I want him out. I mean, he wants Delap, who was as fast as a snail, and Howe now plays Gordon over our strikers. But this, Charles, it's nothing to do with tomorrow. Choppy says, I'm only teasing you. Really? Or are you just putting that because you've seen the backlash in the chat? I don't know. I really don't. Anyway, further to his press conference, he spoke about preparing for Sunday, Billy, and he said, we've got a lot of work to do psychologically with the players. I think the players will have learned from a lot of similar games this season, a bit of work to do today and tomorrow, and we will be fine come kickoff. So he's basically admitting there that there is a psychological issue of that defeat to Barcelona, and of course he did mention a lot the previous game at the Stadium of Light as well. But if these players can't get up for this game, then there is a serious problem going on. If they can't rise to this occasion,
I would expect that the likes of Dan Burn, dare I say Kieran Trippier, even the likes of Lewis Miley and people that aren't playing should be kind of taking leadership roles tomorrow, whether they're playing or not.
Yeah.
And giving the rest of the team, people with local history, the history to this game and how much it means to the fans. They should know that by now, given the backlash they got after the...
Yeah, but this is what we said before the first game at the Stadium of Light, didn't we?
But now they've experienced it. I would imagine they should know by now.
Yeah.
I do take issue with the fact that we've had similar kind of psychological with games this year. We've not conceded 5.5 and got beat 7-2. I think that was an extreme to the 10th degree.
Yeah.
But it's the perfect game to follow it. Because if you can get back into the hearts of the fans in one foul swoop, it's stuffing them twats tomorrow.
Yeah. Paul Chollerton, brilliant comment. Put everything else aside tomorrow and get behind the players and the manager. 100%. That's what it's all about. Choppy says, from the bottom of my heart, I apologise to Paul Ditchburn, Billy Trey, and the Toon Review. He's regretting that so bad. I thought
you were teasing us, mate.
He's regretting that comment so bad. Wow. Ray says, it's simple. We need a striker, not a winger. Well, we'll come on to the team.
If Johan Brissett plays tomorrow and scores a hat-trick, he could be the biggest hero in history.
Yeah.
Instead, Fulham are getting beat at home. Are they above us in the table? Fulham?
Let me double check for you, Billy.
Burnley just taken a lead against them at Craven Cottage.
No, Fulham are 12th. They're currently on 42 points. Or it might be 41 if they've gone behind now. Sunderland are on 40 in 13th. We are on 42 points and currently lie 10th in the table. But obviously, there's a few games tomorrow, but if we win, it'll take us to 45 points. So that takes us around, where Brentford are at the minute, which is 7th. And then you've got Chelsea, who are on 48, Liverpool 49, Villa 51. There's still a lot to fight for, There's still an awful lot to fight for here.
I agree.
9 points from 4th place. If we can get our act together in the Premier League, Billy, we will have a chance. But obviously, other results are going to have to go our way between now and the end of the season. Of course they are. But when you see that, you get a lift and you think, yeah, we're okay. Premier League form, we have improved that. There was the win against Manchester United, the Chelsea win, in between some knockouts to the cups. But you know what? it's now time to turn our attention to the Premier League and
well,
the one game a week, Billy, and maybe we can turn it around.
And look at the running. Arsenal away aside, on paper, you'd say we could win all those games that we've got left.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on paper, I know your football isn't played on paper.
No, we've definitely seen that this season, Billy.
But if you look at it, it's a great run. Arsenal away aside, it's a great run to go on.
It is. It is. Of course, a lot to fight for. We have a half-decent run in. Darth says, massive amount to fight for. Come on, lads, get on a run, and it's game on. Choppy says,
now.
Eddie's done a great job since he's become...
Fucking hell, Choppy, you're having a mare, mate.
Yeah, he's having a complete mare. Colin says, I'd love Champions League again next season, but I'd be happy with any kind of European football. You know what, Collix, you're right. And I think it would be fantastic to try and get Champions League again. But I think at this stage, the season we've had, I think just to get European football again would be fantastic. And I think it's very important for the football club. And Eddie mentioned that again in his press conference. It is very important that we get European football. Because I think Eddie knows, and the whole staff know, that if we don't, then being able to attract players and things like that, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult. So any European football, I think, from where we're sitting now, with a few games left in the season, if we do qualify for a European place, then we have to look at that as a positive, because we'll have known that, look, a couple of weeks ago, we were completely out. You know, we had Man United and Chelsea in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And we've got 6 points out of that. And I don't think anybody expected that. So that is without a doubt a positive. And hopefully, I know you can spend more if you're not in Europe, but the problem is attracting the players. Yeah. Who wants to come to a team that's not in Europe? That's the thing. It's very, very difficult to try and attract that player.
Stupid the laws are.
Yes. Warren says, Choppy, mate, you've tripped over your own bick there, bud. I think
it's about dick wrong.
Yeah. The atmosphere in St. James's Park tomorrow is going to be electric. It is. It is. I know War Flags have been doing a lot in the ground as well before kickoff. Now, Eddie did speak about getting the best out of his players as well. And he says, we need to perform. The positives of this game for us can be huge. For the fans and for the city, we need to make sure our preparation for this game is as good as we can be to make sure we help the players. Now, he was asked about the atmosphere as well, Billy, and does he take much notice of it? And he said, no, certainly not at the start. If we're winning in the second half, then he starts to soak a bit up. But at the start, he's more conscious of being there for the players and making sure that they carry out what we've discussed. But those sort of comments there when he says about, we need to perform, we've heard that a lot. In press conference already, where we need to perform, we need to do this, and they've gone out and just completely done the opposite.
Yeah, if he's talking about getting the best out of his players, then I can only assume he's thinking about selecting someone he hasn't got the best out of. Which brings me into Nick Voltemade territory, if I'm being perfectly honest. Is he going to get a run up front tomorrow? I'll be honest with you, I don't think Sunderland is the place to play him at home again, up front against. I think Dan Ballard and his mate next to him will love to mark him, but they will not like to mark the pace of Anthony Gordon.
He's got that own goal hanging over him from last time we played Sunderland. Do you not think there'd be an extra little bit of zest to Nick tomorrow to put that right?
No, he hasn't got zest in him. He can't run, can he? He's as slow as me.
He can't. He's not pacey, but
maybe he'd be more hungry.
Yeah, he can put the ball in the back of the net.
It's a big gamble, isn't it?
It's a huge gamble, but to be honest, I mean, what does he do? Because Anthony Gordon he was good at Chelsea, but Warren says Ballard's banned. He's not banned, Warren. He was an injury doubt, but he's not banned. He was an injury doubt, but they think he will play.
I think that. I mean, I don't like to be positive about Sunderland players, but Dan Ballard's been an absolute revelation for them this year. He really has. So much so that the Sunderland fans wanted him called up for the England squad, despite him being Irish.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, great news on the England squad front. 5 of our players called up, Billy, including Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah.
And listen, we have to talk about the goalkeeper situation because I've been looking through news articles and all of that, obviously for the build up to this show. But there is quite a few rumours kicking around that he's going to recall Nick Pope, and I think if he did that, Billy, I think that is an absolute disgrace, and I'll tell you why. Because Aaron Ramsdale was let down by his defenders on Wednesday at Barcelona. Nothing Aaron Ramsdale could have done in that game could have made the score any different, because he made some great saves in that game, which stopped it being double figures for me. And to make him the scapegoat, I think would be an absolute disgrace.
Well, if he does that, it just destroys any confidence Aaron Ramsdale's got, and then he's got 2 goalkeepers with no confidence. I think you have to play Ramsdale to give him a little nudge saying, look, it wasn't your fault Wednesday. In fact, if anything, it was the opposite. You saved us from worse embarrassment.
Yeah.
So to drop him after that and then bring in a goalkeeper who's throwing balls in the net every week to replace him might just be the worst managerial decision that Eddie Howe's made this season if he makes it.
Yeah. Charles says Ramsdale could have saved 1 or 2 of those. If not, then he isn't that good, to be fair, but keep him on. I think you've been harsh, Charles. I mean, I've looked at the goals and I don't see where he could have done any better with them. I think he would. The thing is, of course, a goalkeeper could make saves. You know, there's no question about that. But you look at the way the defence let him down. I mean, that defending was absolutely atrocious from the word go at Barcelona. The defending was rotten. And, you know, he decided to rip 50% of the back 4 up after a great performance against Chelsea. We now got to think, you know, who is he going to bring in tomorrow, Billy? Because is he going to start with Dan Burn? Is he going to start with Kieran Trippier? Because I don't think he can. I know, look, Livramento was poor in the second half against Barcelona, but I don't know what the hell happened to the team in the second half, to be honest. But I think when it comes to playing players tomorrow and getting the best out of them, you look back to the Chelsea performance. I mean, Malik Chow is absolutely gassed. We know that. But who would you go with tomorrow?
Burn and Botman for me. I think you've got to have that bit of local leadership in this side for this game. Mm-hmm. So I'd play him and I'd play Botman next to him. And I'd put Malik Chow on the bench. I'd start with Tino ahead of Kieran Trippier. And if he doesn't perform tomorrow, then I'm going to start thinking about, is his mind really on a job at Newcastle? Or is he thinking of Betty's hot pot to the Rovers return or whatever?
Yeah. I agree with you, Billy. I actually do agree with you on that, but I don't think he'll leave Malik Chow out.
No, maybe not. Because, I mean, Ramadan's finished now, isn't it? He'll probably come out fat as a pig. Probably like me. Well, about 6-8 meals since fucking Ramadan's finished.
I just think he relies on Malik Chow an awful lot, and I don't think he'll drop him. But if he keeps burning and he keeps trips, I seriously worry where his head's at. I mean, obviously, you know, that's speaking now. He may pick them and we might go on to win the game quite easily. But I just think it's a huge risk. And I think
Chow needs a rest, and I think you can't not play Dan Burn in this game.
Mm. Well, I mean, look, he'll want to get... he'll want to play because of what happened at the stadium, and like when he busted his lung, of course, and cracked a rib. But he'll certainly want to put that right as well. Liverpool losing helps really up for this, says Warren. Brian says, hi, Paul and Billy. I've just come home from my first craft fair since my wife passed.
Well done, Brian.
Absolutely. Try and get a bit of normality in your life, Brian. That's the main thing. Great that you've done that, buddy. Magpie 50 says, I have said for a while, Eddie will be given to the end of the season at least. I think 6th is really possible. Start by stuffing the scum. Come on 4-0 to the Toon. And Nick says, starting Burn, Trips or Pope is a sackable offence. He's got big decisions. He's got big decisions because he's got big decisions to make in midfield as well. You know, I mean, I can't.
I'm not sure he has got any decision to make in midfield.
I think it's what I mean by that, Billy, is bringing Willock in. But who do you bring Willock in for? I don't think there's a.
I don't think he does.
it all depends on Tonali, doesn't it? If he's fit. And
well, of course, Tonali didn't play at Stamford Bridge, so I mean, I wouldn't mind if Tonali couldn't play, because Ramsey and Joe Linton did very well against Chelsea.
Yes, they
but
did.
I think we need Tonali's class tomorrow. If we're going to have to, because they will come with a low block, there's no doubt about that. And we need someone to if what's his face plays, our old mate Xhaka plays, then we're going to have some quality on there and physicality and pace.
Well,
to kind of bury him, and I think Tonali's that man.
Xhaka ran the midfield for me in the first game.
Yeah,
we've
got to get close to him and stop him.
That was a big failure, for me as a fan looking at that game and looking how much time and space we gave Granit Xhaka, because it doesn't matter. You can say, oh, well, he's this age, but it doesn't matter. If he's got it, he's still got it up there. He's still a very good footballer.
Yeah, he is.
And he can pick a pass, he can dictate the midfield, and he did that for long spells at the Stadium of Light. Granted, there wasn't much creativity from both sides in that game, but we just gave him the ball and let him have the ball for long periods without pressing him.
I've got a feeling that we're winding him up to, and I think he could be a candidate for a red card. He's the amount of times that he's played at St James's Park and should have been sent off. Yeah,
there's a few. There's a few. Collix says, interestingly, all of our opponents, apart from Arsenal, are behind us in points before the end of the Burnley-Fulham game. The rest of those teams play each other at least once. Yep. Listen, the thing is, though, Billy, we've got to take care of ourselves. It doesn't matter about other games. If we keep winning, then we'll get our rewards for that. And I think that's the main focus on tomorrow. Is just, I guess Eddie will be looking at it saying it's another chance to win 3 points. He knows the magnitude of the game, but the 3 points is what is most of all more important.
Fulham are 2-1 up against Burnley now, incidentally.
Turned that round very quickly, haven't they?
They have. So it's a massive game, and the 3 points is the most important. Whoever we were playing, we need to win it at home. The fact our local rivals is a chance to wipe off the slate that horrible experience of a few minutes back, and the one of Wednesday night in one foul swoop. The opportunity to do that in one go is massive, and we can't let that pass. We really can't.
Well, there's been a lot of accusation, I guess, since the Barcelona game that not just in that game, but generally this season, there's been a lot of cases where Newcastle United, we've come out flying, and the first half has been all action, all athleticism, and then we die in the second half because we just can't keep that pace going.
Yeah.
So what do you think for tomorrow? Do you think if we play like that, I mean, look, we said some of the football we played in that Barcelona game in the first half was absolutely superb. Defending aside, going forward, the passing, the movement, it was all really good. But if we get to tomorrow and we go at Sunderland again for the first half and we don't break them down, what happens second half? Do we then sit back again?
Two things. We should have the vast majority of the possession tomorrow, and that makes it easier on the legs. And the second thing is the crowd. And the adrenaline going through the players from the crowd should carry us to the second half. I would hope it would. And then, of course, he can make the changes. He can bring half the team off, can't he, really? And so it's how he manages the team in game, how the crowd are, how we're getting on to make the crowd like that, and how we keep hold of the ball and not give it away.
I mean, the thing is as well, Billy, there's the international break. There's you're not bringing players off because we've got another game in 3 or 4 days.
Even our lads that are going to England, 2 or 3 of them aren't going for both games, are they?
No, I think Dan Burns definitely not. I think there's a couple of others not going for the. I think Hall and Livramento are.
I think Gordon isn't going for the first game, is he?
There's a couple not going for the first game. Yeah, just to get them some rest. Magpie 50 says, Paul, if we can get 3 in front, they are not good enough to get 3 past us.
Who said that about Leeds, Magpie 50?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's just scoring goals as well, remember. We haven't exactly been prolific. And it took an absolute worldie to beat Manchester United, remember, and the Chelsea goal was a very well worked goal by us, but dreadful defending by Chelsea, let's be honest. But it was But apart from that, we've got to get the goals. We've got to put the ball in the back of the net. And, we say that Harvey Barnes is one of the best finishers. We need to see him step up now. His form's dropped off a little bit.
Yep.
Anthony Gordon, if he plays as a striker, I don't know what to expect from him because, it was chalk and cheese. The game he played against Chelsea to the game he played against Barcelona looked like two different footballers.
Yep.
But what do you do on the right, Billy? Because there's obviously a conversation again. Jacob Murphy knows what these derbies are like.
Yeah, but we know what Jacob Murphy's like. That's enough for me.
That's the worry.
Listen, when Elanga came on against Man City and scored away from home in that semi-final, his confidence was sky high. Next game, Murphy was in. He just scored 2 goals against Barcelona. Again, you'd think his confidence was sky high. You wouldn't put it past him to put Murphy in, would you?
Well, no, but I think
I wouldn't. I think Elanga's got to start.
I think Elanga has to. How can you get 2 goals against Barcelona and then get dropped? That would be insane. And this is what he's done a lot this season. Is he's taken players out who have actually performed, and then he sat in press conferences and said, "You perform, you stay in the team." Well, I think 2 goals against Barcelona is good enough to start in the team against Sunderland.
I wouldn't be surprised if he rested Barnes tomorrow because he has looked a bit flat of late.
Yeah, he has.
Maybe put Gordon back on that left wing and then maybe play Big Nick through the middle. Maybe. Ooh. But we've got to get players near him. That includes Ramsey, that includes Joe Linton, that includes Gordon, that includes Elanga.
Yeah.
When we're attacking, we've got 5 going against their 5, and I'm sure we've got the quality to beat 1 for 1.
Yeah.
I also don't want to see his zonal marking corners. That's something.
Oh, fuck no, none of that shit again. I'm done with zonal marking, Billy. I think every fan is completely done with zonal marking. Now, Eddie Murphy?
At times. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, my God. Eddie on Sunderland, he said they've had a good season. The jump from the Championship to the Premier League is big. We know how tough the game was against them earlier in the season. We need to use that experience of the first game, the emotions that we felt afterwards, and we are focused on delivering a really good performance. He said that many times this season as well, that we're focused on a good performance. But he did say a lot during that press conference that defeat really stung. Now, you said earlier, Billy, that you're not sure that even Eddie himself knew the magnitude of the game until afterwards. And then they saw the fallout from the game. But he said they were hurt. It took a long time to get over that defeat. So he shouldn't. There shouldn't be any need for Eddie to sit in that dressing room tomorrow and motivate the players. There shouldn't be. I mean,
it's not going to hurt him to get stuck in as well, is it? Let's be honest.
No, absolutely not.
That's if Eddie Howe knows the magnitude of it even now. Because remember, after the game, he said he played well.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. However, I think he got the message after the Stadium of Light defeat. You have to look at our players now and think, right, you're hurt after the defeat. It was an embarrassing defeat at Sunderland. It was an own goal, but that they happened. But it was the manner, and that's been the problem with a lot of our losses this season. Has been the manner that we've gone down without a fight. I mean, you're playing in a derby game like that, and I don't think we laid a glove on Sunderland in that first game, Billy. The 50-50 tackles, they wanted everything more than us. We sat off Granit Xhaka, give him the freedom of the pitch. Tomorrow has to be different. We have to play the old Eddie Howe way tomorrow and just get into them from the off, get that high intensity and be in their faces, not give them a second on the ball.
You must remember that one moment where it looked like we had to score when I think it was Voltemar that came across to the right side, picked the ball up. And all I had to do was bend it around the defender for Gordon to be in on goal, one-on-one with the keeper. And he just didn't play the ball, did he? And it was just dreadful. And so a lot of them got a lot to answer for that game. Perfect opportunity for it tomorrow.
Absolutely. Now, he was asked about the Bruno situation, Billy, and he was asked about it a couple of times, to be honest. He was first asked, and he kind of brushed it aside, and he said he doesn't want to talk about it. But then towards the end of the press conference, he was asked again, and he was pushed for an answer. Are you angry about it and things like that? And I think he genuinely was, because obviously he tried to stay pragmatic, but he said it's utter nonsense. It's utter nonsense about Bruno. He is 100% committed to this football club. He's bought into the whole thing. And when we can see that, Billy, and I think, these Man United channels, a couple of days ago, it was all about Tonali, how fantastic Tonali's going to be in the side. And then suddenly it jumps to Bruno, and they're going to get whoever they want. And now apparently Bruno and Tonali, their representatives are both fighting each other to see who can get the move first.
Well, I think that's nonsense, isn't it? If ever you see a player that's so aligned to a club, that it seems impossible for him to leave. I think Bruno's in that position.
Yeah.
And I remember when he came here from Lyon, and PSG wanted him, and he said, well, I'm not going to PSG, despite them being a massive club, because I don't want to play against my teammates here. So, in France. So, I think that'll be the same if he leaves Newcastle United. I don't think he'll play for another club in England. No chance.
No.
I think he's more aligned to us than he was to Lyon.
I mean, we've said it before, Billy. If Bruno went to Manchester United, I couldn't take that.
I don't know.
I think that would be just an awful situation for us as fans.
I can't think of anything worse. Well, seriously, as a football fan, that happening, and I don't think it will happen. I think Bruno appreciates.
I don't think it will.
Appreciates how much love he's got at the club, how much of a hero he is, how much he's rewritten history at Newcastle United. If he goes to Man United, he's not going to write any history. So I think he'll stop here rather than there. Someone like Real Madrid or someone like that, you have a chance to go to an ultra club, and they are an ultra club. Then maybe, but I think he'd even turn down them first, to be honest.
Yeah, but if he went to Real Madrid, then he'd be sent with best wishes from everybody.
100%.
But they're a little different to Manchester United. Claire says, as if Bruno ruins his legacy at this club to go to a club that is miles off ever properly competing. Yeah.
They're competing now, but you can't say they're going to next season, can you?
Well, yeah, but the game last night, Billy, the draw with Bournemouth, and all the fan channels are breaking out in hell about a penalty that wasn't given to them yesterday. Yet in that game as well, Harry Maguire pushes a Bournemouth player over when the cross comes in, and nothing's even mentioned about that. It's a blatant push for a penalty. And then the Crystal Palace one, where Cunha got him sent off for a dive. Yet they got the penalty and the red card. I think they need to be careful, Man United fans, because the way they're going on.
Worse. The Jacob Ramsey one.
Exactly.
In their fan channel games, they were and that Jacob Ramsey's a nasty, dirty sort. And it's been proven by the PGMO that he should have been sent off yesterday. Not that it means anything to us, because
no. That's the thing. It doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter what the PGMOL said. It doesn't matter because the game's gone. It's not like you can replay the game. JV says, I think, I know Scumberland are dirty physical, and I think there will be some yellows tomorrow, even a red or 2 or 3.
Maybe red, yeah. I'll tend to agree with that.
Joe Linton, Billy, is probably high up on that list. Let's be honest. He's walked a very... Yeah, he's walked a very thin line in the last several games.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a candidate, as is Xhaka. There's 2 or 3 on both sides. However, I think the fact we need to win the game, I hope Joe just keeps his cool.
Yeah.
And does the game that if he plays to his utmost ability, then he alone could win the game for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack Bland's been a member for 15 months on the channel. We have to give them a proper thrashing. Be 3 or 4 up by half time. We need to show them the difference in quality. It's down to players as much as Eddie. Absolutely. Whatever team Eddie puts out there tomorrow, those players that cross the white line, they have to do a job. They have to fight for everything in a black and white shirt. They have to bleed black and white tomorrow. Simple as that. It's not going to be all down to Eddie. The players have to do their job. And I'm pretty sure, as much as criticised Eddie, he'll put a side out tomorrow that he thinks is good enough to beat Sunderland. He knows how important it is to win this game. You know, Eddie is not a stupid man. He will know what he needs to do tomorrow. He knows that the team have got to go out and win the game and put on a performance because, especially after the Stadium of Light game, especially after the second half in Barcelona, they're aware of that.
I would hope Eddie Howe will have the wherewithal within his managerial brain to totally outcoach fucking Silver Regis. So, you know, it should be an easy game for us. It really should be.
Cyril Regis.
Silver Regis debris.
What I don't even Regis what the fuck's he called? Regis
debris.
Yeah, well, so I'm not even asked, to be honest. I don't really care. Trolls, thank you, says, if Bruno went to Man United, I would hate him more than Isak. Yeah, I mean, the legacy would be ruined, wouldn't it? It would.
It's hard to kind of even consider it. I can't even imagine it. I can't imagine thinking like that.
I don't even want to, Billy. It hurts even thinking about it, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. I've got to feel sick.
Yeah. Indeed. Carl says, Julie Slabheed wants ban should be extended for what he did when he walked off the pitch with the fourth official as well. Clash of the mid-table is the reality. Well, yes, at the moment it's a clash of the mid-table, but, you know, we won't be looking at mid-table if we get 3 points.
Exactly.
And we start moving up. Chippers says we wouldn't accept the Man United bid. I don't think there's any truth in it at all. But if you listen,
I don't think Bruno behaves in the same way that Alexander Isak did.
Nah, not a chance. Not a chance. But I think we have to give Bruno something back, though, don't we? We have to, you know, for say, look, of course we want you to stay. We don't want you to leave. We can achieve something here, and you know, let's be fair. 2 Champions Leagues, 2 cup finals, a cup win. It's not been all bad. You know, this season's been a bit of a write-off, fair enough. Although, saying that, we went far in the Carabao Cup again. We went decent run in the FA Cup, Champions League. But the Premier League is the bread and butter, and that's where we haven't performed. And the thing that worries me is who are we going to get if we've got no European football? But I believe in the players. I believe that we've got a good enough side to finish in a European place. It's just the mentality that we see on the pitch sometimes isn't there. And that's been a problem.
Halfway of what our potential tells us how we can play. We'll be in the top 5 now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we haven't all season long.
Evening all, not confident at all for Derby Day, says Laura. Magpie 50 says, Paul, if you remember, Bruno did say if he left, it would be back to Brazil. It's just Southern BS. Anthony Taylor hates us, says Jack. We already know we're playing against 12 men tomorrow.
I disagree. I think he's the best referee in England.
Yeah, Billy's a fan.
I'm not a fan, but he's the best referee in England. He's still shit.
Well, yeah, but let's see how those of you that are watching the match day live with Billy tomorrow. Please do make a note of how many times he calls Anthony Taylor a stroker, just so when we do the review, I can have a number and see what he really thinks of Anthony Taylor's performance.
Well, he refereed against Spurs, and I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah. Yep, thank you, Mervyn. Nick says tomorrow can and will determine the rest of the season. Win and we can easily push for Europe. Lose and the toxicity will take over. But we will win. I think it needs just one of those Winston Churchill speeches, Billy.
I'm not. Don't know why you keep mentioning Winston Churchill for.
It's just like looking in the mirror. Julie said, that's a good thing.
You've been dead fucking 60 years.
Oh, dear me. Julie's gone off Alice now. She's far too obsessed with our players.
Yeah, I think she's a bit of a... I agree.
Yeah.
Typical Man United.
Yeah. There's been a... Well, yeah, she's not the only one, is she? I mean, all the Man United channels are doing it and saying... we should go. She's believing the reports, like a lot of Man United fans are. There's a lot of Man United, content creators putting out there, believing in the hype, believing in the newspaper reports. But it's a bit of an arrogance from Man United fans to think they can just plod in and get Tonali, plod in and get Bruno. And they were even talking about Lewis Hall a few weeks ago as well. It's bizarre. It really is bizarre. The entitlement that they have for a club that's done really nothing of late, that they're living on their history. But we all know that. We all know that.
That's all they've ever done.
Yeah. Right. Let's put a team together then, Billy. I mean, the goalkeeper, we'll start goalkeeper. I mean, we both want Ramsdale still to start, don't we, surely?
I think Ramsdale has to start, but I don't believe he will.
Oh, don't say that, mate. Don't say that.
Well, seriously, can you see it?
Oh, I can see him. I can see him putting both in, absolutely.
I
think it would be a crime.
I think it'd be
an absolute crime if he drops Ramsdale tomorrow, because Ramsdale's been on. I don't care what anybody says. He might have conceded against 7 against Barca. He's been really on form. Commanding the box, his distribution, it's all there. It is all there.
It has to be Ramsdale, but I'm saying that, and I'm saying to myself, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Pope on the team list.
Mm.
That's bad, isn't it? I'm actually thinking like that.
Yeah.
I think we're all thinking it.
Yeah, because if he does change the goalkeeper, Billy, that is scapegoating Ramsdale to say it was your fault.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. 100% it was the back four that let him down. Well, not just the back four, the midfielders, lazy asses couldn't be asked to come back. Back four.
For me, it'd be Livramento, Botman, Byrne, and Hall.
So you'd start Botman as the right centre-back, yeah? Which he did, of course, a few months ago.
Yeah, I think he's got more footballing capabilities than Mr. Byrne, but I think we might need Byrne's experience and leadership and attitude to not lose tomorrow.
I agree with you. I think Chow's looked very, very tired. And you saw that on Wednesday night in the second half, when especially that ball through for, what's his face? Lewandowski. Mm-hmm. It was right next to him, and he physically just couldn't adjust. He just looked knackered. So I agree, but I think you'll still put Chow in there with Byrne.
Probably, yeah.
I can't see him starting trips. I can't, not after Wednesday's performance. I'd be incredibly surprised if Tino's not in. But I know Tino wasn't great, but the thing is, they are our best fullbacks. Tino and Lewis Hall are our best fullbacks, and we need our best there tomorrow. Midfield. I mean, it's got to be the three, hasn't it? It's got to be Tonali, Ramsey, and Big Joe.
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so.
But if Tonali's not fit,
well, then
what does he do?
Then Willock will have to come in and we play like we did last week with Ramsey as a 6, which he did really well against Chelsea, to be fair to him.
He did, but does that mean he brings... Well, does he bring Willock in, or does he start Voldemar?
I don't think he played Voldemar in midfield against Sunderland. I think he just get physical off it all the time.
Well, we've said that in every single game he's played midfield, Billy, but he's still gone and done it.
Yeah, he has. I think he might play him. I think he might start up front for us.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he'll play midfield.
You think he'll start up front? I'm not so sure. Right, we'll go for the front three now. Who's going to play on the right?
Hopefully Elanga. But again...
I agree with that.
But again, no one would be shocked in the slightest if the big wide smile of Jacob Murphy punches onto the pitch, mightn't be captain.
You're right. But if Byrne plays, surely he gets the captaincy.
Did he play at Chelsea? No, he didn't play at Chelsea last week, did he?
No. Came on a sub.
Yeah. I hope it's Elanga. I think he just caused them all sorts of problems.
Yeah. Right. Centre forward and left wing, Bill, because obviously this kind of matches into one, doesn't it? It's whether Gordon goes left or we think he'll put Voldemar up front. But but I'm going to say that he doesn't put Voltemada up front because I think Gordon has been used to playing there the last few weeks, and will Voltemada be rusty if he puts him up front? I think he goes with the same three. I think he goes Elanga, Barnes, and Gordon.
I'm struggling with this one because I see benefits of both. I think at some point he's got to put Voltemada back up front. At some point,
I agree, 100%, Billy, 100%. But
tomorrow, with his scoring the own goal in the first game, might be the perfect time to do it. But we have to get players around him as a centre forward. If we're not going to do that, then there's no point playing him there.
Yeah,
I'd play personally. Would play Elanga, Voltemada, and Gordon.
Look, I want to see him back up front.
I don't mind either way, to be honest.
Yeah, I just don't think he will. I don't think he trusts Voltemada up front. I don't think he trusts Wissa up front. I mean, Wissa's not even in the conversation here to start. It's madness considering £55 million we spent on Wissa, and he's not even in the conversation to start a game against Sunderland. It's unbelievable.
He could always play Sula.
Well, he could. Jesus, I'm up. I mean, I don't know about you, mate. I'm kind of dreading the team sheet coming out. I know the team in my head that I want, but I just don't think it will be.
No, this is it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Trippier, Pope, Chow, Murphy. You wouldn't be surprised, would you?
No. But thank you. That's not the Winston Churchill speech I was looking for, Billy.
Mark Gillespie.
Oh, Stat will be over the moon with that, wouldn't he? I'd be absolutely over the moon. Wherever he's watching I know he's up in the northeast this weekend for the game, so
probably the tattoo
I wonder what pub he'll be watching it in. Right, get your predictions. Let's see your score predictions in the chat, guys. Let's see how you're feeling. Are you confident of beating Sunderland tomorrow? Now that we've given you the possible lineups, get your scores in before we give you ours, and let's see what you think. Sean's going 4-0. I take it that's to us. 2-0 Toon, says LG. 3-1 says Chippers. 1-1. 7-0 to us. 13-0.
Choppy says 5-0 Sunderland.
I'm sure he does. 10-0 says JV. I think there's a few optimistic scores coming through in the chat here.
Any predicting Sunderland to win, unless the Sunderland supporters, of course.
I haven't seen any so far, to be fair. They're all Newcastle wins. 3-2s, 2-1s, 5-1 again. That would be quite nice. 2-1, 3-0. Something tickled you, Billy?
Jack Jr. He did definitely tickle me.
Yeah, I saw that one.
We've got to score every other minute for that to be right.
Choppy's gone 4-1 Newcastle, Billy.
Fucking hell, Choppy. Giving him a goal.
I don't know what's happened to Choppy. Choppy's had a very bizarre last hour, hasn't he? But well done, Choppy. Well done. Bermuda says, listen to yourselves. It's surreal arguing which over 33-year-old is playing and no striker. It's dream world stuff that we can play in Europe. Well, way to be positive.
I don't know what you're talking about, mate, to be honest.
No. Arguing which 33-year-old?
I mean, I've picked Voltemada to start, and I think if Gordon starts, he's proved himself as a striker this year.
Has he?
I think so.
I know you're a fan of Gordon's, and I like Gordon when he's on his game. But it's whether you can trust him to be on his game. That's the
well, he's the one to be a candidate for red card as well, I mean, to be honest.
Yes. There's a few candidates kicking a boot for tomorrow, no doubt about that. James, a member for a year. Thank you, James. Our lads 3-1 Newcastle. That's what we like to see. Right, come on then, Billy Bob. What you going for?
I'm with all of the chat. I don't see us losing this game, and I'll see us winning convincingly. Yeah, it's a derby game that generally don't play out like you think they're going to play out, but I can't see us winning by less than 2. So I'm going to say 3-0.
That's what I've gone for. 2 3-0s. Yes, let's go for it. I mean, it'd be nice if we were actually 3-0 up at half time. We'll
lose 7-3.
No. Just give us a little bit of an advantage going into the second half, which we know we don't like playing anymore. So, but yeah, look, I think we've got to be confident tomorrow. It's a big game, and I'm pretty sure the lads understand. The manager understands. I think that they'll all be up for it tomorrow. But we will see. Make sure you are up nice and early tomorrow morning. Get in the mood. Billy will be live with you from 11:30. Kickoff is 12 o'clock. Remember, if you're watching Billy tomorrow, give him a like, give him a big support tomorrow, and also count how many times he says stroker to Anthony Taylor. And you will get my match reaction after the game. And Monday night, I think, will be the review, because we'll let the dust settle on the derby and give it a 24-hour time scale for everything to settle down, because I think whichever way this result goes, Billy, it needs 24 hours for the dust to settle.
Yeah.
So we will be back on Monday night with the live review.
Next Thursday.
Yeah. Let's hope it's celebrations. I'm sure it will be. But thank you everybody for your contributions this afternoon. Great stuff in the chat. A lot of positivity tonight. Hopefully that will be in the dressing room tomorrow morning, and of course at kickoff, and we get into them straight away. Thank you very much, mods. Thank you, Billy, and of course the biggest thank you to you guys out there. Without you, we'd be nothing, so we do really appreciate it. Smash the like button if you haven't done so already, and of course, if you are new, please do subscribe. It is completely free of charge. Come and be part of this incredible community that is rapidly building here on YouTube. So thank you very much, guys. Make sure you're there for Billy at 11:30 tomorrow, and hopefully we come away with 3 points. How are the lads? Take care.
How are the lads and lasses? Come on!
Come back and check on Sea Breeze.